Okay, so we'll talk about rates in SAT. Let's look at an example first. So let's say, for example, we have a bike manufacturer that can produce 20 bicycles per hour. So you can write that like this, 20 bikes in 1 hour. Now it says how many hours would it take the manufacturer to produce 320 bicycles? So we know that this is bikes and this is the time. So we need to know how many bikes, how many hours would it take to produce 320 bikes. So that's 320 and that's going to be x. We're looking for x. Now you can cross multiply. So this with this and this with this. If you cross multiply, you get 20x is equals to 320 times 1, which is 320, which means x is going to give you 320 divided by 20, which is going to be 16. So that means it'll take 16 hours to produce 320 bikes. Let's look at example 2. In example 2, it says a rocket has 360 gallons of fuel left after 2 hours of flight. So in 2 hours, the rocket has 360 gallons left, and it says only 100 gallons after 6 hours of flight. So after 6 hours of flight, we have 100 gallons left. So it says it burns n gallons of fuel for every hour. We need to find n. So basically we need to find how many gallons we're using per hour, because they're saying it's n gallons per hour. Now that means we need to find how much we're using per hour. What you can do is you can find the difference. So you can do 360 minus 100 to get the difference. 360 minus 100 will give you 260 gallons, and 260 gallons were used in 6 minus 2 in 4 hours. So we use 260 gallons in 4 hours. So if you divide 260 by 4, you're going to get 65. So you're using 65 gallons per hour. That'll be n. Example 3, it says a box at the supermarket can hold 6 oranges each. So one box can hold 6 oranges. Each orange costs 20 cents, so one orange costs 20 cents. Given that the supermarket has a budget of $500, how many boxes will the supermarket be able to completely fill? So we have $500, and we need to know how many boxes we can have. So 500 boxes, $500 x boxes. Okay, so we know that we have, in one box we have 6 oranges. So let's first find how many oranges we can have with $500. So 20 cents means we can write that as one orange costs $0.2. We can say one orange is $0.2, which means we can find X oranges will be $500. Now, if you cross multiply, you're going to get 0.2x is equals to 500 times 1, which is 500. So 500 divided by 0.2 is going to give you 2500. So x is going to be 2500, which means we have 2500 oranges. Now we'll use this over here. So one box contains 6 oranges. We have 2500 oranges. So x is going to be 2500 oranges. If you cross multiply, you get 2500 is equals to 6x, which means 2500 divided by 6 is going to be x, which gives you 416.67. That'll be boxes. So they're saying how many boxes will you be able to completely fill? You'll be able to fill around 416 boxes in total. That'll be your answer. Example 4, it says a car can travel 1 mile in 1 minute, 1 mile in 1 minute and 15 seconds. So 1 minute is 60 seconds and 15 seconds. That'll give you 75 seconds. So you can write this like this, 1 mile in 75 seconds. At this rate, how many miles can the car travel in 1 hour? So 1 mile in 75 seconds. 1 hour is 3,600 seconds, because 1 hour contains 60 minutes and each minute contains 60 seconds. So that will give you 3,600. So x miles in 3,600 seconds, or 1 hour, cross multiply, you'll get 3600 is equals to 75x. 3600 divided by 75 is going to be 48. So it'll be 48 miles in 1 hour. That's how far you will travel. Okay, now let's look at some questions. So question 1 says a carpenter lays X bricks per hour for Y hours, and then X over 2 bricks for 2Y more hours. So X bricks in 1 hour, and then we have X bricks per hour for Y hours. So 4 Y hours in total. And then we have X over 2 bricks for 2Y hours. So it says how many bricks did he lay in total? So if it's X bricks in 1 hour for Y hours, that means you can just multiply this. That'll be XY, because it's in 1 hour you have X bricks, so in Y hours it'll be XY. And then for this, again, you just multiply. So X over 2 bricks for 2Y hours. So you just multiply 2x with X over 2 with 2y, which is going to give you xy, because this cancels with this. So it's xy for the first one and xy for the second one. If you add them together, you will get 2xy. That'll be our answer. Question 2, it says Tim's diet plan calls for 60 grams of protein per day. So it's 60 grams in 1 day. He eats a protein bar that contains 60 grams of protein. So 1 bar contains 30 grams of protein. How many protein bars would he have to eat to buy to last a week? So 1 week is 7 days. So we need to know how many bars, X bars, in 7 days. Okay, so let's look at this. So we have 60 grams in 1 day, and we have 7 days in total. So in 7 days, let's say we're looking for the number of grams. So in 7 days, it's going to be 60 times 7 is equals to, let's say this is x times 1. So 60 times 7 is 420 grams. So it'll be 420 grams that he'll need in 7 days. Now, 1 bar contains 30 grams, so we'll use that here. 1 bar has 30 grams of protein, and in total we have 420 grams. So we need to know how many bars we need to eat. So we will cross multiply. So 420 times 1, 30 times x. 420 is equals to 30x, and then 420 divided by 30 is going to give you 14, which means he would have to eat 14 bars to get in 7 days. Okay, next question. Question 3 says a company sells computer monitors and releases a new model every year. With each new model, the computer increases the screen size by a constant amount. In 2005, it was 15.5 inches. I'll write that down. In 2005, it is 18.5 inches, and then in 2011, in 2005 it is 15.5, and then in 2011 it is 18.5. So 2011, 18.5. So we need to find like how is the screen size changing between this time. So what we can do is we can find the difference in the change. We can find the change, so it's 18.5 minus 15.5, and the difference in the time period, so 2011 minus 2005. So 18.5 minus 15.5 is 3. 2011 minus 2005 is going to be 6. That's going to be 0.5. So it's 0.5 inches per year. That's how the screen size is changing. Question 4. A submarine descends into the deep ocean. The pressure it must withstand increases. At an altitude of minus 700, the pressure is 50. So at minus 700, the pressure is 50. And then at an altitude of minus 900, it is 70. It says for every 10 meters the submarine descends, the pressure will increase by n. We need to find n. So Again, we find the difference because they're saying every 10 meters. So we need to find the pressure increase every 10 meters. So pressure increase in 10 meters. So pressure in 10 meters. That's what we're looking for. So this is the altitude, meters, and this is the pressure, ATM. Now, again, we can find the difference. So the difference is going to be 70 minus 50 divided by the difference, minus 900 minus 700. So this is going to give you 20, 70 minus 50 is 20, and then minus 900 plus 700 is 200, minus 200, so it's 20 over negative 200. So that means if you solve for this, you're going to get 20 over 200, which is 0.1. So it's negative 0.1. It'll be ATM per meter, because this is ATM pressure and this is in meters. So ATM per meter. So this is what we have. It's 0.1 atmospheric pressures per meter. Now the question is, we need to find for every 10 meters. So this is for every 1 meter. So it'll be x in 10 meters. If you solve for this, you will get 1. So it'll be 1 atmospheric pressure for every 10 meters. And that'll be your answer. So it'll be 1. Next question, 5. It says an empty pool can be filled in 5 hours. The water is pumped in at 300 gallons an hour. So how many hours will it take to fill the pool if the water is pumped in at 500 gallons in 1 hour? So we have an empty pool. It says it takes 5 hours to fill it up. So if you're filling it up, it'll take 5 hours at 300 gallons per hour. So if it takes 5 hours at 300 gallons per hour, that means if you multiply them, 300 times 5, that'll give you 1500 gallons. So if it's 300 gallons per hour, if you run it for 5 hours, it'll be 1500 gallons in total, which means the total volume is going to be 1500 gallons. Now the question is, how long would it take if it's pumped in at 500 gallons per hour? So the total capacity is 1500 gallons. If you pump it in at 500 gallons per hour, we need to find how long would it take for 1500 gallons. So we'll just cross multiply this. You get 500x, multiply this with this and this with this, is equals to 1500, which gives you 3. So it'll take 3 hours to fill it up. Question 6. It says apples cost $D. Which of the following expressions give the cost of 20 apples? So A apples will cost $D, and we have 20 apples will cost an unknown amount. So let's say it's x. So you can cross multiply this. You get AX is equals to 20D. We're looking for x. How much would it cost for 20 apples? That'll be 20D over A. That'll be your answer. Question 7. At a school, there are A grade levels with B students in each grade. If the school buys N stickers to be distributed equally among the students, what would give the number of stickers each student receives? So we're looking for number of stickers for each student. So stickers per student. This is what we're looking for. Now, we have A grade levels with B students in each grade. So if you multiply them together, you'll get the total number of students. So we have AB students in total. And it says the school buys N stickers. So we have N stickers. So we need to distribute them equally. So we divide N stickers by AB. N stickers divided by AB, total number of students. That will be our answer. Okay, next, question 8. It says, during a race on a circular track, a race car burns fuel at a constant rate. After lap 4, the race car has 22 gallons left. So in lap 4, so let's say this is lap and this is gallons. In lap 4 we have 22 gallons left, and then in lap 7 we have 18 gallons left. So we need to find after which lap will the car have 6 gallons left. So we're looking for X laps and 6 gallons left. So what we can do is we can find the rate. So the rate is this minus this divided by this minus this. So number of gallons per lap. So 18 minus 22 over 7 minus 4. So this is going to give you 4 over 3, negative 4 over 3. That means we're using, if you divide this, 4 over 3 is 1.33. That means it's negative 1.33 gallons per lap, right? That's how much we're using. So it's 1.33 gallons per lap. The negative means that's how much we're using it, so it's decreasing. So that's what we have. And then the question is, on which lap will we have 6 gallons left? Now let's say at the moment we're on lap 7 and we have 18 gallons left. So right now we have 18 gallons. It's decreasing by 4 over 3 for every lap. So we have 18 right now. It's going to decrease by 4 over 3 for every lap, right? So this is going to give us the number of gallons that are left. Now we need this to be equals to 6. So we have 18 gallons right now. We're using 4 over 3 gallons for every lap until we have 6 gallons left. So if you solve for this equation, you can bring this here and this here. So you get 18 minus 6 is equals to 4 over 3x. 18 minus 6 is 12 equals 4 over 3x. You can divide 12 and 4. So 4 times 1, 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 becomes 9. So 9 is equals to x. So it'll be 9 more laps until we have 6 gallons left. So we have 9 more laps to go. Right now we're on lap 7. If you plus 9 more laps, we'll be on lap 16. So on lap 16, we'll have 16 gallons left. Oh, we'll have 6 gallons left. Okay, question 9, it says by 1 p.m. a total of 40 boxes had been unloaded, and then by 3:30 p.m. a total of 65 boxes had been unloaded. So we need to find the number of boxes that have been unloaded from the truck by 7 p.m. So at 1 p.m. 40 boxes, and then at 3:30 p.m. it is 65 boxes. So we need to find the number of boxes per hour. So the difference is 25, so 65 minus 40 is, and then we have 3:30 minus 1 p.m. which is 2.5 hours. That's the difference. So this gives us 25 boxes in 2.5 hours, which means it's going to be 10 boxes per hour. So we know that the rate is 10 boxes per hour. Now let's say from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. it's going to be 6 hours. So at 1 p.m. we have 40 boxes, and then it's going to increase by 10 boxes per hour. So it's 10x, that's our equation. And we need to find the number of boxes at 7 p.m., right? So from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. it's going to be 6 hours, which means x is 6. So 40 boxes plus 10 boxes per hour, and we have 6 hours in total, which means 40 plus 60, which is 100. So by 7 p.m. it'll be 100 boxes that will have been unloaded. Question 10. It says Amy buys $D worth of groceries each week. She spends a fourth of those dollars on fruit. So in terms of D, how many weeks will it take Amy to spend a total of $100 just on fruit? So Amy buys $D each week, so $D in 1 week. And then it says she spends a fourth of those dollars on fruit. So fruit is going to be D over 4, a fourth of those dollars. Amy plans to spend a total of $100 just on fruit. So if she's going to spend, so this is per week, by the way. So D over 4 in 1 week. So she's planning to spend $100 on fruit. This is fruit, so $100 means X weeks. So you cross multiply, that's going to be this with this, this with this. So it's d over 4x is equals to 100, and then x is equals to 4 goes up, so that becomes 400, and then the d can come down, 400 divided by d. So we get 400 divided by d, and that will be your answer.